You're listening to the Bob Culture Podcast with your host, Rob!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a very special Extreme Rules Horror Show Predictions Panel episode of the BCP. Kind of sounds like American Horror Story right now. But right now, you are listening to a cover of Asuka's theme, The Future, by my good friends in It Lives, It Breathes. Check them out right now on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, all that good stuff. And right now, maybe not so stoked for the pay-per-view. No offense to anyone, not knocking anyone. But I am excited for two big premieres here on the BCP. First, welcome to the show, a longtime friend. You know him from Wrestling IQ 101 podcast, and more notably, for always looking fashionable and saving a few bucks at the same time, Mr. Andrew Pace. Andrew Pace, what's up, bro? How are you?
Well, first off, thank you for having me on. I'm happy to be here and talking with both you guys. And yeah, thanks again for that plug. It's WIQ 101 on collarandelbowbrand.com.
Yeah, man, I'm going to get you to say the line at the end too, man. I can't wait. But so happy to have you here, Andrew, but super, super stoked from this one. Please welcome from FowlOriginal.com and Radio Fowl, a good brother, a good friend, and let's be frank here, like a mentor. It is an honor. We are not worthy. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Fowl. What's up, bro? How are you?
Thank you so much. Like, what an intro. I'm really excited to be here. Like, we've been trying to like, just to say, Rob booked me like months ago for this. Yeah, it's fantastic. Dude is so organized, and I was so ready for this. I've been excited for this all week.
Oh, thanks, man. It's an honor. And I will say, I did book you months out, man, because you're that big. I don't want you to big time us, man. You know, you're getting up there, so I had to, get it going. But
yeah, it's lockdown. I don't get to get around a lot, so I'm just growing.
Yeah, man. No, you're killing it right now, man. And we'll get the shameless plugs in at the end because we're all about the shameless promo here on the BCP. But as always, guys, we start with ladies first here on the BCP. So let's talk about the Raw Women's Championship match with Asuka versus Sasha Banks. This is an interesting one. I think it really could go either way. I don't know if you guys are on the same page. Let's throw it right back to Fowl first. Your thoughts on this match and who's going to walk out the Raw Women's Champion?
So first of all, I am massive Asuka fan. Yeah, like Fowl Originals live streams, I have like a little PNG pop up because we're an Asuka Stan account, and like I was so happy that she won, and like she has been, in my opinion, like the MVP of lockdown. Like she has been absolutely freaking amazing. Like every single time she goes out there, she's entertaining, and language isn't a barrier, and it's something that she's really proven. Like she's totally proven. Now, because of the Kairi Sane stuff, like I really want Asuka to win because that would be a freaking amazing match. And with the stories going on and stuff, I would hope that Asuka wins because that puts Sasha one step closer to potentially having some issues with her buddy, Bailey. She might want to go for something else. So I'm thinking Asuka. I got Asuka on this one.
He's going Asuka. That is interesting, man. Like I always say, I wish we had that around the horn style thing here because Fowl, I'd just be giving you 2 points right now, man. I'm feeling it. I like what you're saying. Andrew, your thoughts?
You can't discredit the blueprint, right? I mean, it's the blue hair, so it's amazing. But no, I have to agree with you. I think we're notching closer to that breakup. We can't see that not happening coming soon. But if she does win, I mean, her first title defense, Sasha, she always loses the title, so she might win it and then lose it the next night or something like that, right? So next title defense. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But yeah, I think Asuka. I don't think she's ready for Asuka this.
Interesting, guys. I'm actually gonna, and this is not like me. I usually do the safe bet here. Love Asuka for a long time, going back to NXT even a little bit before that. But I mean, she's phenomenal. I love the way that, Becky obviously broke the news. One of those very few heartwarming moments you get in the business, which I'm all about. The last big heartwarming, like I call it, wrestling moment, I think was Keith Lee last week. I thought that was just a beautiful moment. And if you watch some of the after stuff, but Asuka getting the title in that way, kind of towing that line between her in-ring persona and being happy for Becky. So I love seeing Asuka as the champ, not only for who she is, but her in-ring skills. I think since Sasha has come back, blue hair means heel, apparently. The way that they've just been, 2 years now between that Bayley and Sasha feud, they kind of pulled the trigger on it a few times, and Bayley jumped her that one time and then nothing happened. So I think they are dragging this thing out. I think what better time now? You have this opportunity to have them have all the gold. That's your storyline. We're in this COVID world right now, so maybe we do get a little cute to bring viewers in, stuff like that. They're money. They're bringing them into NXT. As we've seen, they are literally money. They are ratings. And I'm going to say Nunes is going to hate me for this, but it's boss time. All right, guys.
That's boss time.
It's curveball. And I love Asuka, but I think this might be just all the gold, all the belts, and we'll see where it goes. I could be wrong. But yeah, we might as well go to the next match concerning them. Let's go with Bayley against Miss Nikki Cross, if I'm not mistaken, for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I'll keep it short and sweet, and then I'll throw it to you, Andrew. I think Bayley retains here. Great to see Nikki Cross get that number one contender spot. I'm more of a fan of Nikki Cross as the sanity, the heel kind of persona. I loved her a little bit more in NXT, but she's great as a face too. That's just my personal preference. Andrew, I'll throw it to you. I say Bayley retains.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely agreeing with that. But it's so refreshing because Nikki is naturally over. So, yeah. And she can do both the crazy girl and she can do, the best friend stuff. So yeah, definitely think it's going to be Bayley, winning that one for sure.
Easy peasy. Fowl, are we going for the trifecta here, or you got a curveball?
Nah, I got you here as well, Bayley, because this is going to be, from what everyone's saying, one of the cinematic matches. And if you've seen the poster that's gone out for it, it's like a Shining kind of parody thing where you've got Nikki Cross going, "Here is Nikki," and I think that's great. And I think that's the kind of match that will really work. I totally agree with you, Rob, with how I love crazy Nikki. I love her just kind of being focused on something and having that real belief in herself. But it's going to be Bayley, isn't it? And I wonder if Sasha gets involved in some way, if it's a cinematic match, and maybe that can cause something later on with the Asuka-Sasha match where she expects Bayley to come out. And I think that there can be some threads there, but Bayley to win.
Yeah, I think going for the trifecta here, I would be surprised if we're wrong on this one. And that's why you guys are here. You guys are knocking it out of the park already. So let's throw a curveball at you guys. I did want to talk about this earlier. We did kind of mention how Bayley and Sasha were money when they came to NXT. We say it's not a competition, but we have those Wednesday night wars. Let's be real. Every week we get the ratings. And we saw that Bayley and Sasha being on NXT did help the ratings. Your guys' thoughts? I know I have my own personal opinion. I'll be honest with you guys. I haven't been watching WWE as much as I've been watching AEW. I've been more excited for the product. I've been excited to see some of my friends show up on AEW. It's just great. I love what they're doing. I feel like that atmosphere, it just feels like there's no walls. It feels like they're in a stadium. It feels like they're outside, the pyro. And as I always say here, I always feel like in the Performance Center, which is a great place, and I'm all about it. I'd love to check it out one day, but I feel those four walls, man. I feel that lack of noise. I feel that lack of audience, even though they finally decided to fill the seats or whatever. Let's be real here. We keep it very positive, but they dropped the ball in terms of their employees' health. I really do feel that way. So right now, I'm not trying to knock anyone or be sour on anyone, but how do you guys feel that both brands have handled their product in terms of putting on the best product for fans in this very bizarro, no sports kind of world? I'll throw it to you, Fowl, first.
It's really weird. I kind of when you see the Performance Center, it feels sterile. Doesn't it? It doesn't feel alive. It feels really corporate. It feels like Like, you know, it's like years ago, I went to Florida, like the one time I went to the US, yeah, and I went and visited the Nickelodeon studios. Big
Yes.
fan. And I'm a big fucking fan, yeah. So this is like 90s, this is mid 90s. I made my mom, yeah, take us to the Nickelodeon studios in Universal Studios, Florida. And like I went round and like I was a big fan of Keenan and Kel and stuff. So like I went to go and check out where they were filming it. Like I was really obviously they weren't there, but like I went to go on the studio tour. And it was so weird seeing like how the sausage was made. Because I was like, oh, I don't like this. And that's what it feels like watching Performance Center. You're getting to see the sausage get made, and I don't like it. Yeah, like I wasn't a big fan of the sausages to begin with, and like I just don't like how they're made. But in All Elite Wrestling, it it just has a different feel to it. Like it's in an open arena. It's that stadium feel. And just as you were saying, and I think we were saying beforehand, like the WWE product, there's so much of it. Like I watch AEW every single week because it's 2 hours of really, really fun wrestling. Like it's fun wrestling, there's a bit for everyone. NXT, and I've said this a few times before, since it went from the 1 hour to the 2 hour, I feel it lost a little bit of its specialness. And
Yes. Yeah.
so like it just doesn't feel, and so like if I miss an episode of NXT, I'll go back and watch like a match from NXT. But if someone says go check out Dine, I will watch the whole episode and I'll sit there and I'll enjoy it. I think that there've been a few people that have really stepped up, and like the people like Oscar who've really stepped up. People like Jericho, who is the linchpin of AEW. You watch any single show, he is their star attraction. And like even earlier on today, the stuff he was doing, I don't know the dude's name, yeah, but the guy, the other musician, like I woke up in the morning and he just started some, was it Sammy Hagar? Is it Hagar? I feel like it's Sammy Hagar. I feel like I just made that name up. But like he started some random feud with some musician talking about how he's lip syncing and stuff. And I'm like, what the
Oh,
shit is this? Yeah, like
it
it's
was
amazing.
Sebastian Bach, I think, from
Yes.
He's a Jersey guy.
Skid Row.
Yeah, look at you.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know that's who it was. I couldn't get there.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Go ahead.
No, but Sebastian back here. And so like I woke up this morning, like UK time, and it must have been about 3, 4 in the morning in the US straight after Dynamite. They're having a fight about wrestling and lip syncing, and they're gonna set some shit up, and I'm like, that is why AEW kills it every single week in relation to being fresh and being different. Because the WWE can't really do anything. They're like, okay, we'll get in Gronk. Let's get in Gronk. And Jericho's like, well, no, I'll just get like anyone. I'll just start a feud with them, and then that's the person that we're gonna have a feud with. It just got a different feel, and like I've really enjoyed the AEW product during this whole lockdown.
Yeah,
Is it
very
more
well said.
Jericho or is it AEW for you? Because I mean, he was killing it not that long ago with the list. You know, WWE.
No, I think the one thing, Andrew, is like I think that he kills it with anything he does, but I think that he's afforded a lot more freedom in AEW. I mean, like if you look at the Demo God stuff from last night, yeah, I know a lot of people weren't a big fan of that. I fucking loved it, yeah, because it was working us. Now, if that was the WWE, it would have been like something silly. And okay, yeah, it would have happened. Would have in like 3 weeks' time, we would have had a T-shirt and stuff. No, AEW, he's made that joke. They got a T-shirt up on the store immediately. You can buy the Demo God T-shirt right now, and that's just an offhand remark that he made. Like, I think in the WWE, having to go through all the layers and like, get to Vince and then explain to Vince that this is funny and people are gonna like it, and he's like, "There's not enough piss and shit in it," and then like, like I just feel like he's doing his best work. But I think you're right, Andrew. I think part of that is down to the way that AEW is built comparatively to the way that WWE is. Just one thing is Tony Khan was speaking about this earlier on, and I was really excited. He was talking about how, like Punk, and they were talking about CM Punk, and they were like, yeah, he's worth the money. You should have got him. But they said there's this feeling that the promotion is run by the wrestlers. It is to an extent, but there's still someone in the back that says, whoa, 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 whoa. No, you can't spend that much money. You can't do that. And I think that's the difference. is that they just afforded that freedom. I mean, look at Matt Hardy. Jesus, like from what he was like trying to do in the WWE to what he's doing now, it's just night and day, man. Like, but I totally agree with your point, Andrew. Like, I think it is more AEW.
Do you feel like it's WCW-esque where people who get released from WWE go to AEW?
Yeah, man. Yeah, and like that's why I love it. Like to me, it's like I'm a big fan of TNA, and like when TNA first started in 2003, I was like just kind of coming into the like looking around at different promotions other than the WWE, and TNA every single week I was like, who are they gonna get this week? And that's what AEW feels like, but we're getting the cream of the crop. Like we're not getting like for example, I think they were talking about Heath Slater and Tony Khan's like, oh, we don't want Heath Slater, and he's a bit like, oh, why don't you want him? And they're like, we just don't want him. And that's like a really honest thing. Instead, where like in the old days, WCW would have been like, hey, let's get this Heath Slater guy in. Let's make him the Crocodile Hunter because they called him Slatergate at one time. Let's just throw him the fuck in and like just give him an Australian gimmick because why not? Like, but I love it. But I think that WCW, like for a lot of its faults, it did some really good stuff. Like,
but I mean, I kind of feel like the decline of TNA Impact is when, like 2010, when they started bringing in all those guys, because they were overexposed, and when I was watching TNA back in the day, I was really more excited about Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles and Ron Killings, because he really didn't get a shot in WWE at that time. And I remember America's Most Wanted, and those guys got me excited. Not that I didn't enjoy seeing Rhino and Chris Candido, but I certainly did. But that's the thing I like about AEW, is that I get to see Joey Janela, Sonny Kiss. I mean, they're not just wrestling in my backyard. Now they're wrestling on TV. So I think that's kind of cool. I think that's the plus. I think it's kind of funny. Their main champions, Cody, Jericho, Dean, John Moxley. I mean, they're all WWE wrestlers, right? So, so for me, I watch. It's like a black and white cookie. I get the best of both worlds, right? I get to watch WWE, and I get to watch AEW. So, and it's I don't always find I don't always agree with everything they do, but I think right now we're stuck at home, and why not enjoy both both companies are trying to do, and we have the time to do it, right?
So you was talking about like Samoa Joe, Daniels and stuff, yeah. I literally feel you right there. That's why I used to watch every single week, like AMW. Like, so my little brother, like I was kind of showing him like wrestling stuff. Like we were big wrestling fans. He's a few years younger than me, not massively, but like we kind of went on the journey together. So like when I found TNA on these random news groups, and I was like, "Yo, Fowl's brother," I was like, "Check this shit out," and he was like, "Oh my god!" So we've been watching like random deathmatch stuff, like Queen of the Deathmatch, IWA stuff, like Mid South, like random stuff here that I was just putting on. But that was the show that he was like, oh my God, this is great. But when I wanted to show it to other people, it was when, hey, Jeff Hardy, who's got some issues at the moment, he's going to be on this Wednesday show against AJ Styles. They're like, who's AJ Styles? I was like, you know who Jeff Hardy is though, right? And they're like, yeah. Do you want to watch this match? And they're like, yeah, shit, this whole show is like really interesting, like, and that's the gateway. And so that's where you've got your Moxleys, that's where you've got your Jerichos, but like what Cody's been doing, which is fantastic, and what I think Moxley's done to an extent as well, is they've lifted them up. Like, so you get Sonny Kiss versus Cody Rhodes on mainstream national cable television. Like, who the fuck would have believed that would have ever happened in a million years for a championship, and not pitched as anything other than what Sonny Kiss is, which is a unique individual who is not going to be stereotyped or pigeonholed into one place. Like, and I love that shit. I love it. It's what brings me to the product. And if people don't necessarily like Sunny Kiss, you know what? They're gonna watch the rest of the show and they might go, actually, giving him a fair shake, giving her a fair shake. I like this person. And I think that's what AEW does so splendidly. Like the whole Warhorse stuff that's happening at the moment. Oh my God. That's how you do it. Like, that's how you do it, man.
Yeah, that's Sonny Cody match. I actually just watched AEW right before this. Again, I should have been prepping for the WWE stuff, but I was watching, catching up on AEW, and I called it. And yes, Cody did like my tweet, close personal friends, not really, but I said that match was going to be fire right out of the gate, and Sonny Kiss put on a hell of a performance and took Cody to his limits. So that's good, and I love what Cody's doing with the TNT title. But I won't go on an AEW rant. Let's get back into the WWE stuff here. And guys, I don't even know where to go with this one. My guy, the reason I started getting into the business, Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins. Neither of these guys really need to be put over. We have an eye for an eye match. I will say this: I'm loving the use of Dominic in everything. To me, that moment, and I had said this to Derek on another show, Andrew, that moment where they did the double 619 on Brock and that no DQ match. I can't remember a crowd being that hot in the longest time. I say just give Ray the title there. But what a moment for them to hit the double 619, the double frog splash, to no DQ match. So it's not like, unbelievable or anything. They both do the cover on Brock. Oh man, you can see how excited I'm getting right now about it. I thought that was like, they should have went a different direction with that, but what a moment. So I love Dominic being involved. I love seeing Aleister Black being involved a little bit in that feud going on, but I have no clue where to go with this one. I don't know if they do yet. Even the commentators like, it's an eye for an eye. You have to gouge the other one's eye out, but we don't know what that means. I think Ray is kind of walking around with that like shaded kind of mask. All I can say is this: I think Rollins at some point is going to be moving forward, coming out with an eye patch. I just see it. So I'll say Rollins loses because I just see him walking out. I don't know how, or maybe it'll be cinematic or some sort of effect. And I don't see Ray gouging out Seth Rollins' eye. So I don't know. I'll say Ray wins this one, but I got nothing. Andrew, what do you got for me, bro? Because
I'll start off by saying I didn't. Because that's actually Eddie's son. I learned that out a couple years ago.
There it is. So,
I know that there was an issue with what was it? With the parental ownership or something. I know that there was some ladders involved. I can't remember.
Yeah. And he had a classic shirt, Eddie, I'm your poppy. But anyway, yeah, what a bizarre match, right? I mean, you have to rip somebody's eye out of their socket, right? I mean, fun. But yeah, I think Seth Rollins is going to win it. They said that Rey Mysterio's contract is up. I don't know why you would put him over if he's leaving or hasn't resigned yet. But yeah, I can't see Pirate Seth Rollins just yet. And, they can patch up the other eye of Rey Mysterio to add to that mystique of him. So, yeah, it'll be kind of interesting to see. I don't know if I actually want to see the eyeball on the mat or in somebody's hand. But I've seen a lot of crazy stuff at these wrestling shows. So, I don't, it's just another day at the office, I guess.
Yeah, not wrong. Fowl, your thoughts?
Oh, so many thoughts. So many. So first of all, I read Mick Foley when I was younger, a little bit younger. I read a whole bunch of wrestling biographies, and one of the first ones that I ever read was Mick Foley's book, Have a Nice Day. Great book, the first biography, and it was such a good book. And I remember being teased for it while I was reading it, in the establishment I went to school, and I was like, "Fuck you all," because it's a great book. Have a nice day. And then I'm reading it, and there's a point in the book where he talks about protecting the business, and he talks about how certain people would do certain things in matches, and there's something that just sticks out in my mind. He talks about how there was a particular wrestler who, to protect the business, literally ripped someone's eye out during a match and then stepped on it. legitimately stepped on it, yeah. But Paul, like, it's in the book, yeah. I'm not making this up. Like, and I remember reading that and going, jeez. Like, and he's like, this is like 40s, 30s, so like protection of kayfabe. So that's thought one, is like, is this what happens to people that leave? Like, so Jeff Hardy's on the way out, so they're like, well, fuck it, we're gonna judge the past. Rey Mysterio, we're gonna take one eye. We're gonna take one of your eyes on the way out. Like, is that what we're gonna do? Like, I don't know. But the other thing I was thinking of, I was like, is this like a Demolition Man style situation where like Seth Rollins goes and grabs a pen and just shoves it into his eye and then goes and opens like the secret vault for the Mysterio gold or something? Like, I don't understand. And then
Eye out. I mean,
yeah, it's like, but then the other thing which came to me, which I was thinking about, like the whole point is like obviously AEW did like a similar kind of thing, but it happened organically. Like it was like, so someone's tried to, like, Jericho's tried to poke out Moxie's eye, so now he's a pirate. So now he's going to have an eye for an eye match with, I think it was with Santana, wasn't it? And like, so he's having this eye for an eye match. Now, back then, pun totally intended, we didn't blink an eyelid. But now it's like, because the WWE are doing it, we're like, oh, how are they going to do this? This is stupid. Like, this is going to be CG. Okay, like, there's a bit of a double standard there. And like, what's funny is the amount of rage that's come from fans about this in the WWE. It's like, they shouldn't be doing this. Like, wrestling fans have a very short memory, and like, I forget that sometimes. Like, such a short memory, they've forgotten what's happened like a month and a half ago in another company. But with the match, like, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be interesting. I think, again, it's going to have to be one of these cinematic matches. I'm hoping that there is some kind of Simon Phoenix Demolition Man like thing at the end that like whoever wins has to, because maybe that should have been the finish. Yeah, like you've got to take the person's eye out to get into into the WWE vault, you know, where they've got the SmackDown fist and stuff. Like that's what they should have been. Should have been the whole thing, yeah. Because I could have been down for that. But it's really weird, isn't it? And it's just like, I understand in a way why it's happening. And winning wise, I think that it is like, I would assume that like Seth Rollins wins, but maybe he loses an eye on the way anyway. Like maybe like it's like first blood. And my last thought is, just like in a tables match, does this have to be an offensive move? Or like if they push their own eye out, do they have to then go to the other eye and offensively pull it out? Because I've seen Dudley matches when like people accidentally go through the tables, yeah, and they don't end the match. They're like, it has to be an offensive move, and commentary say that. So does that mean the loser will have no eyes? Like,
or they can do the main thing and just put the contact in, right? So yeah, there's so many different things you can do with losing an eye. And I keep thinking about Carl from The Walking Dead. I don't know if you guys watch that. Like, he's like the worst character. So
it's crazy. Just like hearing us have this discussion, I'm just like, what is happening right now? But only in this wacky business. And right now, you know, we're lucky to have anything. Just everyone, you know, like I always say, just keep everyone healthy. That's all we care about right now. That's first and foremost. Let's keep it moving here, guys. I'm going to throw it to this one. I think is very interesting. So happy to see Apollo Crews. I was very big on him in NXT when they came to the Asbury Park area here in New Jersey years and years ago. I'm like, this guy's going places, and so great to see gold around his waist. There's obviously this interesting feud going on with MVP, who I remember seemingly retired against Rey Mysterio, and then you know, he had announced on Twitter that he retired, and then seemingly was taking on more of a backstage role. And every week I would be like, he's kind of the GM of Raw, and then he kind of aligned himself with Lashley. So it's very interesting, like how MVP has been just like a key player in Raw. You know, you think there aren't really GMs anymore, so it's really interesting to see where he's been, and now he's in this U.S. Championship match. You know, I said earlier, no one needs to be put over here. I don't think Apollo necessarily needs to be put over, but again, a passing of the torch here for sure, no question in my mind, and that's what MVP's there to do. I respect it. I think Apollo wins this one fair and square. No funny business. Let's throw it to Andrew.
Oh yeah, definitely. Apollo Crews is going to win that match, but you can't take anything away from MVP because he held the tag team title on SmackDown and the U.S. title at the same time. But I am pretty envious of that new championship belt.
You like it?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I like it. I like the old one too. I have to say WWE did a better job at the U.S. title than WCW ever did. That was kind of, and I also like the spinner ones. A little biased. But I think like you said, passing the torch, and it's gonna be phenomenal to see Apollo Crews do what he does best, and that's shine.
Love it. And before I throw it to Fowl, I'm gonna do a little ball in, coming to Fowl. What do you got?
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay, so if this is a pizza eating contest, MVP's got it down. If this is a basketball contest, MVP's got this down. If this is just a general contest of who's the best, MVP's got this down. But yeah, like I agree with you guys. Like I think it's going to be Apollo Crews. Passing of the torch, definitely. MVP's such a great guy as well. Sorry, Andrew.
Oh, sorry. I said you didn't have drinking down MVP.
Well, he's a little bit older now. He might not be able to hold it. So, but like, what's really cool is seeing MVP kind of be reinvigorated, and I really like his role. Like something that AEW, and I know we're gonna always and I want to just very quickly is the way that they deal with like managers and the nostalgia acts, like what we've seen with Vicky Guerrero and Nyla Rose. Oh my God, what we've seen with Taz and Brian Cage, perfection. MVP Lashley is absolutely perfection. Like that is how you use. Now I'm going to call him a nostalgia act. That's how you use a nostalgia act. Like, and again, I kind of have a feeling that MVP won't be in this match, and he'll pull someone else out. Like, and he'll just be yeah, and he'll just be like, oh, I'm supposed to be here, but here's my new client. But I think that Apollo Crews will definitely win. Like, definitely.
2 more points for Fowl. I like that curveball at the end there, man. I dig it. You guys are good. I'm liking this one. All right, let's keep it rolling. This one I think is I'm using all the baseball analogies today, but I think this one's a softball, man. This is right down the middle, underhand pitch right here. Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler. These guys used to be on the same page. McIntyre having that very dominant reign where he takes out Brock Lesnar in a couple Claymore kicks. Drew McIntyre retains here. I think he holds on to it till he gets that moment to come out. Hopefully, when the world is open and everything's back to normal, and like we always say, everyone stay safe. But I hope he gets that moment to come out with the WWE Championship to get that ovation that he's been deserving for such a long time. Let's throw it back to Fowl. Your thoughts on this match?
Well, first up, big shout out to my good personal friend Dolph Ziggler, because I put a random tweet out the other day, just because about Adobe Illustrator or something, and Ziggler's responded to me a few times because I think he thinks I'm just confused. I think he just thinks I'm generally confused, and I can remember a few years ago I put a tweet out, made a really shitty joke, and he was blocked, and I was like, I got blocked by Ziggler. Not actually, but he just put out a huh. And I'm like, yeah. I don't know why. But Ziggler, great guy. There's the speculation over what the actual stipulation for the match is going to be. They said they're going to reveal it on the night. I know that there was a poster that went out that spoke about a TLC match potentially as that. So maybe, but. I think Drew's obviously Drew to win, and there is speculation I've been reading about maybe Orton getting involved in the picture later. So with all of that, Drew McIntyre to win and to just kill it, because he has been an exceptional champion so far, and he's British, so fuck you guys.
There it is. I knew that. Andrew, your thoughts?
It's what I was thinking about. Drew McIntyre reminds me a lot of Kevin Nash as Diesel.
Okay.
Because he's stuck in a bad situation, because like back in '95, that was pretty bad time for WWE. This is another bad time, and Drew McIntyre, you know, Nash was really cool. Drew McIntyre is really cool. It's just a bad situation, right? Especially now, it's probably even worse. But so I kind of feel bad. I'd like to see what Drew McIntyre would be like with a crowd and actual people into it, right? And I think that's kind of will tell what kind of champion he'll be in the future, right? But I can't see Drew McIntyre losing that title yet. I mean, they put so much into this Claymore character, and I just don't think it's time yet. As much as I would want the American Badass gloves, for America's, right?
I like. Don't worry, I like Ziggler. It's just that I'm happy it's a British champion right now. So please don't take that away from me. Like,
no, we have our fair. We've had plenty more. It's understandable. But yeah, I definitely think Drew McIntyre is definitely going to win, and it's been a great. Actually, I think it's one of the best build-ups they've actually had. With Heath Slater coming back, and all these other different things they've been doing. So yeah, I can't wait to see what happens.
I mean, Chris Jericho didn't beat Brock Lesnar and the Big Show in one night. I mean, come on, yeah.
But
and he's Canadian, he's not British, so still, fuck y'all. So like,
he's Canadian, but he did beat The Rock and Stone. So that accounts for something.
That's no Brock and Big Show, though. Come on.
I guess you're right.
I love it. This is a good one, guys. I'm having a ball. This may be better than the pay-per-view. I mean, I'm not trying to knock anyone. I'm sure it's gonna be a lot of fun. Honestly, they did put this horror show moniker on it, so I'm expecting a lot of theatrics. I'm expecting a lot of these cinematic matches. I'm expecting a lot of effects, and like I said, we're in this world where sometimes we can kind of take advantage of there not being fans, I mean, I wish that wasn't the case, but I know it keeps going back to AEW. I'm trying not to make it that way, but, they took off Phoenix's mask, and I was like, oh, but like, again, no audience there. So why not that's the time to do it. So get clever here. I pay attention to details. I think details are everything. So get clever here. Now let's bring it back to someone who I think, and I think this is the final one we have here, someone who I think has just been so hot and then cooled off and then been so hot and then cooled off. And I got to talk about Bray Wyatt here, and I'm not knocking him by any means. I know he was kind of in a bad place mentally when fans were getting on him about, the Fiend character, stuff like that, and mental health. So very, very important. But just in terms of storyline, in terms of character, persona, and storyline, they put kind of the Fiend on the back burner a little bit. That Hell in a Cell match with Rollins was very like a Hell in a Cell ended in no DQ. That was kind of like the beginning of it. Now he's kind of rotating characters kind of back to the, like the swamp Bray Wyatt, which is cool. I like to see it. Again, reminds me a little bit of what Matt Hardy's doing, kind of his strange bedfellow tag team partner going back. I love the matter of facts, instead of the Matt facts. Like, I love little stuff. Again, details. I love stuff like that. So let's get clever here with Bray. We saw a little bit of it in that WrestleMania match with John Cena, which was very clever. Let's get creative here. I do see Braun retaining, but I see some sort of like, this is, I guess, the second time they're fighting, and I see some sort of a little bit more of a build between this. This could be interesting, but they got to do it right. I see a cinematic match here. What is it? A swamp? I forget what it's called. A swamp fight? A Wyatt swamp fight? Is that it? But I'm going to say Braun retains here, and show me something. Show me something clever. Throw me something. I'm a sucker for a good gimmick, a good persona. Right now, I think Abaddon, again, going back to AEW, we've seen her only a couple times. The Fiend, and again, no disrespect, but when these guys are hot, don't put them on the back burner. Let's ride this out. Let's get creative. Let's get the Fiend back. Let's get Bray Wyatt back. Give me something here. But I do see Braun retaining. I apologize for the rant. I'm just like, give me something. I want it. Like Batista says, give it to me. So we'll throw it to Fowl first.
So swamp match. My first thought was like, if it's a swamp match, Matt Hardy, and you've mentioned this, yeah, like Matt Hardy's got the lake of reincarnation. So maybe Bry's got the swamp of reincarnation, and he just throws Bray in there, and we get to see, it's not Bray, Braun even, and we get to see some of that old Braun. We get to see bits and pieces, and I think that's a really cool way to do this. But also, I just love the aesthetic of Wyatt, like of Bray Wyatt going back and kind of like going to the swamp and being the old cult leader Bray. I love that he cycles between all of these characters and that it keeps him fresh. Because if the Fiend is beaten, like it almost feels like the Fiend has allowed himself to be beaten. Like that's what I tend to feel is like, oh no, I let myself get beat. I meant to do that. But if Bray gets beaten, Bray is beaten. Like Bray is legitimately beaten in that match. But then the Fiend can go off and do something else, which this whole multiple personality thing, I love that. It gives layers to a character and it allows growth, and it also allows them to disappear and come back without there being an issue. The main thing I really love about this though is that like Braun, sorry, is in my opinion is a bit of a shit champion. Like, and I'm not the biggest fan of him. Like I was, but I kind of I feel like he lost a lot of steam, and that is a total pun right there. The second that the train whole bullshit started, yeah, I'm like, what the hell is this shit? And I really didn't like it. Like, I'm like, I understand, I get it, yeah, but I didn't like it. And with everything that in real life, the way that Braun seems to, and again, I don't know him personally, but the way he seems to be like, well, screw you all. Like, you could do this, just be 7 foot tall and 300 odd pounds, and you can do this. Like, that's what I don't like about him individually, from what I know so far. But as a wrestler, I think that he really brings something. And it's, again, I think as Andrew said earlier on with like Drew, it's a bit of a weird time. And he's my Diesel. Like, he's the person I would call Diesel. Transitional champion, big guy, isn't great, and like he could kick the shit out of me. But thank God the planes don't work at the moment. Like he could, like, but I think that he's just like I don't have the same feeling that I had for him before, and Bray feels so much better as a champion. This kind of swamp match though, obviously going to be a cinematic match. I'm really excited to see what they do with this. But my first feeling about all of this was kind of like when when Jericho was in that shark cage match, and like I was like, why is this? Oh, because they've got a toy to sell. And this whole swamp thing, I remember thinking, hey, isn't that like the DLC for WWE 2K20? Like, this swamp bullshit. It is, isn't it?
You hit that right. You just got like 10 points. It just blew my mind right there. Yeah. You hit it right on the head.
And that swamp shit. So I was like, oh, so basically this is by the game. It's not that shit. Look. And
game doesn't work, by the way. I gave it a 4 out of 10. But go ahead.
But yeah. So that's my whole thing. And like, it's really interesting. I'm very interested by it, and I think that it will be a great piece of entertainment. But anyway, with all of that said, Braun to retain because choo choo.
A hell of a debut by both you guys. And Andrew, before I let you take it home, really well said, Fowl. I agree with a lot of things that you said there. I thought, again, like we talk about people being red hot, cooling off. Braun was red hot maybe a year and a half ago, something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. When he came out with that stand-up bass, that cello, and played it and all that stuff, red hot. Like, that was the time. He was great. A little bit of comedy, was the powerhouse. I still remember that like great fatal 4-way match. I think it was like Brock, Roman, Joe, and Braun. If I remember, it was like that. It was like Extreme Rules, and Braun just dominated that whole match. Like, that was the time. And now I was happy to see him win the Universal title. Maybe, not in that fashion, maybe not against Goldberg. But he deserved it at some point. I don't know if now's the point, but the one tweet or whatever it was, like, it did rub me the wrong way because Andrew and I, like, we use our show a lot, to our platform, to help these indie guys, like to help them get to the next level. And it's a two-way street. They've been very respectful to us as well. And I love that. I love going to these indie shows and just, like, we have a good reputation and a good rapport, and it's a lot of give and take. And that tweet did rub me the wrong way. You hit that right on the head. And my excitement for Braun went a little bit like this. And again, that's outside of the ring stuff. But that's important to me too. So bonus points for that. Again, I got to get some sort of ranking system here, but I agree with you in terms of that, like, mindset that he had. I did lose a little, I don't want to say respect, but just like a little bit of steam, as you said, for him. Andrew, take us home, man.
Yeah. Well, first off, I was thinking the three faces of Wyatt. If that's not in the Royal Rumble sometime, like Mick Foley was, I'm gonna be pretty upset.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think 3 different entrances would be amazing for him at 3 different times. But the Fiend's a Mystique character, right? So you can't have Bray Wyatt, without the Colt version of him against the guy who brought him in, right, Braun. So, I think that. So I think it has to happen at SummerSlam, right? It's a big time event. The Fiend has to be at SummerSlam. But I don't think they would want to play spoiler with the Fiend just this time around for this show. So I think the old Bray Wyatt was a good choice, and plus that version of Bray has so many losses, right? So people have kind of gotten used to seeing that Bray lose in some big matches, right? And maybe against Cena, so many other ones, Dean Ambrose at the time. So that Dean is notable for not winning, right? Or not winning the big one all the time. So if that one version loses, I don't think it hurts him, right? Because we're used to it. And so I think Braun's going to win at SummerSlam. I can't see him facing Bray's going to win at SummerSlam. I can't see that match going any differently unless somebody gets sick or something like that. But I think that's the main event of SummerSlam, or one of the main events of this year's SummerSlam is Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, and Randy Orton. So this is playing, Band-Aid, until we get there. So, can't wait to see that match too. I think we're all excited for that.
I was going to ask you guys actually. So obviously, I don't know if you've seen it, but like over here in the UK, we don't get a lot of the Fox stuff, the Fox WWE stuff, because it gets like region locked for some stupid ass reason because the internet doesn't have VPNs. But like, I don't know if you guys have seen that the therapist skit with Bray Wyatt going to a therapist as the Fiend.
No.
So this came out yesterday night, and like I've been like deep doing editing, so every now and then I pop my head out and have a look at what's on Twitter, and this was kind of going a bit crazy yesterday, and a lot of people said that it lost the Fiend. But basically, for those of you that haven't seen it, it's a skit for Fox, so it's Fox WWE, and someone knocks on the door and it's a therapist, and they go in and it's like, "Hi Fiend, you suffer from split personalities, let's have a little chat about it." And he's sitting on he's not sitting on the couch, but he's kind of perched on the couch, and then the therapist goes, "Oh, you don't want to talk to me, I want to talk to Bray. Oh, let me bring out this puppet." And she brings out this little puppet, and then the lights go out, and then she disappears, and he's sat in the chair. Like, he doesn't say anything. But a lot of people have said, "Oh, this is goofy, corny shit. Like, why have we got the Fiend in this therapist office? It's going to kill his character." Not necessarily. If anything, I think that this is probably one of the best things. And I didn't know if you guys had seen it, but like, what do you guys think of the Fiend in like different places? Like, I wouldn't expect to see the Fiend on Good Morning America, but I could see Bray Wyatt there.
It's funny because he reminds me of The Undertaker, where he can do goofy stuff that maybe somebody else couldn't do and still kind of get away with it, right? Like, but yeah, I can't see the Fiend on Good Morning America, but I could see, definitely Bray Wyatt with the puppets and stuff like that, being a little goofy. And I mean, I remember the Undertaker being on like Regis, right? So, I think you just can't cap him off at, I think the Fiend is so special because he does have that switch between, he can be kind of evil, but he can kind of be kind of a gentleman, right? So, and you can put him in these goofy situations that you probably couldn't do with somebody else. So.
I think that's a great question, man. First of all, I hope the therapist was Dr. Shelby. But second,
if only it had been. If only. That's continuity in the WWE, though.
Missed opportunity. But obviously, right now, I don't see him, being on like those talk shows and stuff like that, because then he's kind of cooled off, like maybe where he was in the past. And I do like the idea of him going on to the man. Imagine if Mr. Rogers was a thing and he went on Mr. Rogers. That would be crazy. I know. It's funny, the day the Fiend debuted, or not the Fiend debuted, like the Playhouse debuted, I had watched that first Mr. Rogers documentary, and then I watched Raw that night, and I was like, I am having a weird dream, and everything got mixed in my head. But no, it was just a coincidence. But anyway, I digress. But I think stuff like that would be great for the character. We need more stuff like that, and it can't be. We have to toe that line between silly and intriguing. And like I said, I'm a sucker for those good personas. And I always like those masked characters. Like, to me, it was just always something about it, like the Canes of the world and stuff like that. I like those split personalities and stuff like that. So I like where your head's at, Fowl. Do I see it happening right now? Mostly because the world's closed. But secondly, because he needs to get back there somehow. And if this is the way to do it, these skits, maybe going on these talk shows, whatever it is, I'm for it, man. Like, get me excited about the Fiend again, because it has been a roller coaster. So, but guys, yeah, I think we hit it right on the head. This was a lot of fun. I'll give you guys a moment for shameless promo. First, I do have to shout out my good friends at Titan Championship Wrestling. They've put on 2 shows so far. They're one of the few companies running right now, and safely, might I add. Again, only if you guys feel comfortable. I know they're selling $15 bring your own chair tickets. It's an outside venue. It's at Ocean Gate EMS. I believe the refreshment sales go to the EMTs and the EMS. The local police department is in hand to enforce social distancing. There are drive-in spots available. That's what I'm comfortable with. So I just stay in my car, turn on the air conditioning. They have the commentary on the radio. So it's a great show. They go the extra mile. The first show had an 18-wheeler. The second show had a stretch limousine. There is pyro. I've ranted about pyro on this show. Like, some of the big companies aren't even doing pyro right now. There's pyro. There's smoke. The Goddesses show is July 24th. That's the all-women's show. It's going to be great. I'm interviewing Mother Endless, another great persona, masked character. Check that out this Monday. I can't wait for that. I'm a little scared. It's going to be a lot of fun. But guys, check out Titan Championship Wrestling on Facebook right now. Look into it. See if you guys want to go to a show. Again, I recommend the drive-in option. That's what I'm very comfortable with. And, more importantly, everyone just stay safe. But guys, let's get some shameless promo out of the way, because we're all about it here on the BCP. Andrew, I'll throw it to you, I'll throw it to you first, and I want to hear the lines about the apparel and the shirts.
Well, I'm glad you threw it to the shirt. This shirt, collar and elbow shirt, and you can get that at collarandelbowbrand.com, and you can save 10% and look fashionable like I am by using that promo code WIQ101. So, I mean, there's no excuse not to go, especially in this time. Or you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wrestling IQ 101. You can listen to us on YouTube, and I had a blast talking to you, Rob, and you guys. I had so much fun here.
Long overdue, man. And check them out, Wrestling IQ 101. I've been following your guys' footsteps for a while. They just reposted their interview with Keith Lee. And some of these guys go the extra mile, man, when you do interviews. He was an extra mile guy, I could tell. A lot of big you guys just posted, so it's good to see those again. And continued success moving forward, bro. This is long overdue. Good to have you. But now let's throw it across the pond, if you will, to Mr. Fowl, who again, not worthy, just a mentor. One day I hope to be doing just a little bit of what he's doing right now. Tell us a little bit about Fowl Original and the Radio Fowl.
So Thank you very much, Rob, and thank you, Andrew. Rob, this has been like well overdue. Trying to get this sorted out has been great, and I'm really excited and really happy to have come here, have this little chat about Extreme Rules. I'm the one that's not worthy. Please understand that. But thank you. So I'm a Fowl original, and you can find me on Twitter at Fowl_original. Now I've been doing loads and loads of stuff. Radio Fowl is kind of a passion project, and you can find that at Radio Fowl. I'm doing loads of stuff there, but what I'm kind of looking and focusing in at the moment is video editing, and I've been pushing a lot of that on my YouTube channel. So at the moment, I'm doing a series all about the history of aces and eights, because I'm really bloody excited about Slammiversary. And I've been doing a retrospective series on TNA as well. So if you go check that out, there's videos varying from 10 minutes to 45 minutes because I'm a masochist. So it's 45-minute video. There's footage in there from TNA and stuff, and it's just kind of looking back. But that's youtube.com/FowlOriginalWrestling. And other than that, I am about doing loads of random shit. So yeah, just come check out my Twitter, and then that's my flavor of the week, and that's what I'm up to.
Love it. That's awesome. And I'm loving on Impact. I'm loving Tasha Steelz right now. We had her on a little over a month ago. She's fantastic, the real deal. Such a sweetheart, but in the ring, a force to be reckoned with. So now you got me hyped for the Impact stuff too, guys.
I did. Oh my god, it's like Slammiversary is going to be so like I have not been this excited. This is why I was like in TNA mode the second we started, and Andrew and I was like, I just want to bring this back to TNA because Slammiversary sounds like such an exciting show. And as you said, Rob, like those kind of shows that are happening, I'm kind of jealous that we don't get them here in the UK, like the drive-ins and stuff like that. But this is a show that I am so excited for, Slammiversary. Really hyped for it. I think it's the first big show coming back for me.
Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, since you guys dropped some names before about your personal friends, I will give AEW one up because they brought my personal friend, Soul Train Jones.
Oh yeah, that is your guy.
Well, you mean Soul Train, meat sauce guy? Is that guy got a meat sauce going on?
Yeah, wrestling star Virgil. He's my personal friend.
He's not lying either. They are.
Wait a second. Does that mean you can get me some kind of Olive Garden, like, I don't know, backstage pass?
No.
Because I've never been to Olive Garden, and I'd love to go to Olive Garden.
we haven't been to Olive Garden together, but we did have dinner amongst the stars, and we did have. He did get me into WrestleCon, so that was kind of neat. So,
shit, meat sauce really greases the wheels. I didn't know this.
Well, yeah, he wasn't booked for WrestleCon in New York, and I was online waiting to get in, and he was like, "You need to come with me," and I was like, I can't. And he's like, no, you have to come. And I'm like, why am I arguing with Virgil? So I was like, all right, I'm going to go with Virgil. So, yeah, so he's my buddy. So
I didn't think tonight I would hear I was arguing with Virgil and then I had to go with Virgil. Thank you so much. Yeah, like for that, just that.
Like, he's like, you need to come with me. No. And he's like, come on. And I was like, I'm a regular patron here at WrestleCon. I can't just walk in with you. And he was like, come on. And I'm like, okay. So I walked in with Virgil. What do you do?
Why not? Hey, man, only in this wacky business, man. But that's good to hear. And, I just can't wait till we can go back to these cons. Obviously this thing needs to be eradicated or cured. So like I always say here, guys, and thank you again so much for a few minutes. This was a ton of fun. You guys both passed the audition here, so I'm excited to have you guys back in the near future. And as I always say here on the BCP, guys, stay safe, stay positive, take care of each other. We're out. Peace.